on, and now we're going to potentially have Nefiri getting through, even the Callista as well, potentially.
Yeah, Jace will be on the board as well. So the Viban coming through means that, as you mentioned, BLG does have their pick of the litter, but anyone's legend could have a very good 1-2 on their side. Skarner will immediately be locked in for Wei. I think this is probably a great champion to have him on, given the way he's kind of been struggling a little bit right now.
Okay, I want to see now from AL, what is their answer? Tarzan has been very creative with different kinds of junglers. We do expect the most likely one to either be the Ivern or the Zyra, but Ivern has just been a plague that no one is willing to touch here in the LPL despite receiving 0 changes. So seems like instead AL right now focusing on trying to just lock up a Taliyah early on, which is quite interesting to me.
Yeah, I think so too. It's not really what you would expect to see, especially with some of the available picks, and see if they give themselves a jungler or if they just make sure that the Jace doesn't go the way of BLG. It will be that Jace lock-in, so because jungle has already been picked on BLG, options still open for anyone's legend.
All right. Can go for the Ambassador. There's the beautiful Arcane cosplayers. Every time I'm going to mention it, especially if you do a lot of work on there. They're doing a great job. But I'm interested to see what we get as a top lane pick here. It seems like this is going to be the Ambessa. Bin's Ambessa has not been the greatest so far this year. I would expect this would have been a great champion from him. So BLG, they're going to have solid front line, really good ability to snap engage. We get Knight's Ahri this time around. So AL wanting to keep them at arm's distance away from them with this Taliyah and the Xin Zhao now.
It's going to be pretty difficult, but they do have tools to speed bump Knight's legendary Ahri. I like that you touched upon the Ambessa not being so great for Bin. The good news is, now that we're out of lane swaps, should have more opportunities to show his stuff on this champion, even though lane might not be fantastic. Post lane should be really good as we get into the second half of bans.
Thinking about 80 carries here, you do have to think about, an Ezreal in potential coming through. I'm kind of just real quick, just diving into these champion pools real quick. Jhin becomes an answer, but I don't know. I feel like if I'm BLG, I kind of don't want them to have something like a Xayah on 4 or 5 here. Just makes it very difficult for Ambessa and Ahri to exist. And eventually you're going to hit like 2 or 3 items, and Skarner's going to turn into paper in front of him.
Well, Ashe is going to be taken off, so we do have the main utility 80 carries out for right now. And with a little bit of buddy follow-up, the Xin Zhao and even the Taliyah riding the rock wall, that Weaver's wall, we could see the Kai'Sa. That would be a great pairing there, and it will go the way of hope. So let's see if he's got the LPL Kai'Sa gene in his veins.
Oh, almost every Hope game on Kai'Sa has been the LPL Kai'Sa. He has been so damn good on this champion, and I think giving these 2 80 carries, champions like the Kai'Sa, like even the Ezreal, like we saw getting hovered there, just will make this game one of the most explosive ones here at the very beginning of Split 2 proper. So BLG wanting a little bit more time, giving the Alistar, I think, very good at not only the lane, but being able to stop Xin Zhao. I will say, does struggle a little bit being able to play into the Taliyah and Jace if he finds proper setups. So here from BLG, they've got a very good possibility of just jumping into the backline, finding their opponents. As long as AL can buy space, I mean, you're going to have Jace poke, you're going to have Taliyah who's able to do the seismic shove. What is R5 here? What is the last pick coming in for the side of AL? This support pick for Kael has to be a game changer.
Nautilus would fit the bill, just enough to disrupt Ahri, disrupt Ambessa, and then even give Elk some problems later on. See if he wants to do that. A little bit more pick-oriented at times. Given the fact that you've got Taliyah Xin Zhao, should be good enough. They'll be able to bolster that. So AL's got a really nice 3-man squad going on with their mid-jungle and support. Able to maybe tag somebody on BLG to get some early kills.
The thing here for both of these teams is getting to objectives and setting up first, because you walk into Fog of War, or you're walking into a Taliyah and an Ahri, suddenly there's a very real possibility you're just getting your head snapped off immediately. Yeah. Things like an Ambessa as well make that very easy to do. So AL are going to be deceptively tanky once they get 1 and 2 items, especially Tarzan and Kael. The fact that we have something like the the ultimate from Xin Zhao is actually going to make it very difficult for BLG to fight. But you look at what BLG have, Alistar plus Skarner combo, you have the ability with both of your solo lanes to just find a pick on the back line. AL need to be very careful with how they walk into fights.
Yeah, any misstep will result in instant death just because Ahri can come from screens away to follow up with a charm. You can see Elk fly in, land on top of you, and then be able to hop out instantly. So have to be very aware of the resets over on the side of BLG. But as you mentioned, the name of the game will be getting the objectives first, especially Flandre can whittle them down if he's able, and the rest of anyone's legend are able to get there first, poke them down, make life very, very hard. And one thing get to talk a little bit about is, grub priority, dragon priority here. Giving Jace, a lot of grubs has generally been seen as a very successful venture.
Yeah, I slightly favor BLG's composition in a side lane. I think that Mbessa makes playing in long lanes really difficult to do just because of how much mobility this champion has. And Ahri, I think, just has much better kill potential in a side lane. I think she also gets out a lot faster and more safely with her ultimate and the Foxfire. So we're getting ready. Get those gyos ringing here as we finally have the first matchup between BLG and AL to start 2025.
This is going to be awesome, Alk. I'm so excited. I know everybody in chat's excited. I know you're excited. I know the rest of the staff here at LPL English are really excited. And it's a great way for AL to show that, yes, there is a new top dog in town, right? And you mentioned for it, we talked a little bit about pound for pound in player roles. You might tilt it toward BLG. So we're really looking for the progression of Shanks, Hope, and Kael to really be on display in today's game.
Especially for Shanks, I think a focus needs to be on him being able to hold his own versus Knight. While Knight has shown some errors here and there so far in 2025, he has not been the bulletproof player that we got to see in the last 2 years. I still think the pedigree and just the general level of play that Knight has put forward, the body of work of this player has been so incredible. And Shanks, unfortunately, kind of going up against some really great mids during their playoff runs in Split 1, has been the most consistent member for this squad, but I think needs a lot more games for us to feel more confident about ranking him a lot higher than maybe where he should be anyway.
Yeah. The only way to get the games is to play the games, right? As Hope and Kael just being kept at arm's length here, always got to be aware of Tristana's E, can deal quite a bit of damage if you get tagged a lot. See BLG already positioning for level 2, forcing them off the wave. So jungler will clear away from the bot lane of anyone's legend.
Pretty interesting there. We actually got to see I think the other day on Alistar was putting up a performance where level 1 Alistar was low-key kind of scary, which was pretty fun to watch. And here with Elk already having the lethal tempo procced, we're seeing the junglers, like you were saying, going towards opposite sides of the map. Tarzan will be spotted here on these Raptors with a very good ward from Knight. So I'm interested to see how much we can actually get from this bottom lane. I think it's pretty tough to dive a Nautilus early. So I think it's mostly just going to be a full clear, get some early vision, and then once we're back from our recalls, look for maybe a little bit more play on the map, maybe around mid lane.
Definitely the place you want to look when you're playing against an Ahri, and when you have a Talia, it's going to be at least a couple of opportunities to maybe take down Knight, as you said, not bulletproof like he has been in past splits. So if there's any time to actually do that, any time for Tarzan and Shanks to get him ahead, any time to enable Tarzan or enable Shanks to be the Xiaohu level player Tarzan believes him to be, getting the double MVPs in the last game, the time is now.
We kind of saw there, Knight already getting Shanks to TP and force an early back just to pick up a tier, but was fading towards this side of the map. Recognizes that this is his strong side, and they might even still be prepping for this dive. Wei is behind the turret, and they're full HP with all their summoners. I think this is kind of tough.
They don't care how tough it is to dive in Nautilus, but a great flash there. On gets trapped under the turret, and he goes down first blood to the Nautilus, but they're hopping on top. The flash away from Elk means he will survive a 1-for-1 in the end. little bit more fighting, but nothing more after that.
If we're still diving on level 3, why did we get rid of Shun? Like, I thought we brought in Wei to be a bit more consistent, but Kael just here to stop this. Now, Shanks, how much movement speed can he get from the wall riding? Should be able to just, you know, throw in the Ishtal's impact.
Oh, he got him!
Flipped, he's just dead.
He caught him in the middle of going through the wall, and Shanks will pick up the kill. Great stuff from Anyone's Legend early.
We talked about how hard it was going to be for BLG to dive the Nautilus, ends up grabbing themselves the first kill there, and then they find one on the exit. So BLG, they were so focused on just trying to get Elk this gold lead that I think they've really jeopardized a lot of this game. They've made it very difficult for them to play. We get this replay of how exactly this went down. I thought this was very creative from On just to get into the back line, but Kael takes a hook, Hope flashes, and he's still under his turret. This barrier doing a lot of work. I mean, I just don't think it's worth it. Yeah, he misses out on some of that wave, but now you've given over more gold to AL, and I think you've wasted a lot of summoner spells. You've wasted all five summoner spells just to get a bot lane kill.
Yeah, it's so many, and now this will allow AL to go wherever they want for these early objectives, right? This dragon is up, the grubs are coming up. Now, of course, BLG with Tristana always going to push in this bot lane most of the time, so they could elect to give up the dragon, could AL, but see what they want to do because there are some pings going on the bottom side, and Tarzan's shading down as well.
Because Shanks ended up going for that play, he did have to take another recall, and does mean that Knight has early priority. They're already swapping the bottom lane waves here. Gives them so many options as well, and I think maybe even cuts AL from starting this dragon, because now Mbessa, after pushing in a wave versus Flandre, will be able to start for this fight, can even walk down if they really need to and take control of the mid lane wave so that Elk and On can walk towards this dragon pit. Really interesting stuff here from the side of BLG.
Yeah, snappy move by them, and as you said, you favor them to get the grubs and make things happen with Mbessa and Ahri in the side lanes. BLG feeling the exact same way, snapping those ones up. The trade is for the dragon to the bottom side. A little bit of an extra boost from that Infernal Drake.
So I wonder from here on out, does Wei elect to just cut the map vertically, right? Just say, look, Ahri by herself is going to be very strong. Let's play around our Mbessa and let On and Wei just be absolute maniacs on the map. Let them open up a lot of space for us here.
Yeah, and remember, we said missteps for AL are deadly, and it doesn't matter which side laner you play around. That two-man goon squad will kill anybody on AL. Yeah, just anyone. I was thinking, maybe they won't kill Tarzan. I think they will probably kill Tarzan most of the time, too.
So, here now, Kael is just reinforcing Bin for the time being. We're seeing Elk and On every single wave. They go and push. All right, we're going into Fog of War. We are ready to potentially make a move here. A lot of focus on the top side of the map. Again, Knight and Shanks. Shanks actually down teleport right now. It is going to be coming up within the next 20 seconds, but we'll be kind of having to see if Knight is going to have first movement. We do expect, as the Ahri matchup, that it's just a lot easier for him to push and clear waves.
Yeah, you'll be able to move first if you're Knight. However, Shanks can oftentimes get there first, depending on how close he actually is, where the fight could be for a Weaver's Wall. Not too deep into this game so far. Anyone's Legend nursing a very small gold lead at this time, but we talked about how explosive these fights can be. Wei is now level 6. Knight is now level 8. He's hanging on to his ultimate. At any time, we could see these two move around along with On to just pick off anybody on Anyone's Legend. Anyone's Legend doing well to at least keep the wards up on their side of the map.
Yeah. Until Hope finishes or gets his Q evolve, it's going to be always a lot easier for BLG to get mid priority and push this wave out. So I am kind of looking towards when and what timers they take to actually move across the map. On by himself now has to kind of move away from this. Good use of the headbutt and the pulverize there to just stop that combo immediately.
Oh, he could be off. He might be off. All right. The ultimate pushing him away. He's going to flash too. So definitely an off moment for sure.
Okay. Good job. Good punish there from AL, recognizing he's not allowed onto that side of the map. Also means that it's very dangerous for Bin to continue pushing on this wave. He knows that there's a Xin Zhao on this side of the map. If Jace does show up, he has to imagine there's something. And look at how robust the vision line from AL is right now. It's stopping all of the jungle entrances. It's keeping a big eye on the mid lane. And they're just making sure that, hey, we don't need to really worry about Wei crossing the river line. They are going to, for the most part, be reliant on getting jungle vision.
4 pink wards, now 5 pink wards on the map for the side of Anyone's Legend. This is the definition of a well-coached team, AlkBattery. That is awesome to see. This is the stuff I wish I could see in solo queue. Is Elk going to go in for a cheeky little 1v1 trade, taking Hope down to about half HP. 40 seconds until these grubs are up. Wonder what BLG is going to do on now level 6. So if he gets engaged on, he'll survive a little bit longer. But the engage not going to be as strong.
And this is an advantage for BLG. The fact that Elk found that trade kind of locks Hope under this turret. And while Tarzan is going to be able to clear up towards this objective. Oh, good cancel from Bin. Just tries to get the unstoppable. So I think that's a pretty meaningful trade that Shanks is able to get.
Yep, just a little bit more power out of BLG right now as these grubs spawn. So see what the move is as Knight and Flandre. Going to get a nice little trade there for Knight. Given the fact that Flandre's teleport is down, it looks like there's no interest for Anyone's Legend to contest these grubs. So they've been started up by Wei, although Tarzan and Kael are in the area.
You just lose the mid lane wave here. Even if Hope is able to clear this minion wave, walk on over with the Plasma procs and the Killer Instinct, I think it is very difficult. You still have this Alistar. There's the Impale that we were talking about. That's 5 grubs for BLG. Are they going to want to try to flip this?
They want them all. There's one stolen away. Kael tagged up here, but he should be fine. They forced out Knight's teleport. Big knock-up coming through to cancel the Skarner and Alistar. So they do get a key summoner out of Knight.
And this is also going to buy time for Flandre to be able to hit this turret. I mean, no one else is going to be able to match him. Bin just teleported to the top lane. Knight just teleported into that place. So that'll be 2 plates going over to the Jace. And as the progenitor of the tank Jace play, I need to see Flandre on this Jace put up a performance, because he has been such a big player for when it comes to how this team tends to play. And to be honest, while I think some of the carry performances haven't quite all been there, except for a couple of Gwen games, he has, I think, a pretty big role on this Jace to kind of be able to poke and prod and put BLG in awkward positions.
Yeah, if you're going to give him 2 plates on the bottom side, right, and give up these grubs, you are going to have to make the most of that. BLG now moving in to try and break this vision line of Anyone's Legend. Here's a full engage come through. Tarzan trying to get the back line on his low. Knight's got a couple charges. What an impale coming through by Wei. Hope trying to batter BLG and keep them away for now. Tarzan wants to go back in. On's out of the fight. Tarzan's got to flash away, but Shanks critically was not there to help out his team.
Wonderful vision toggle from our observers there. The fact that they show that AL have no idea that Ahri is around that corner. Multiple flashes, or at least 2 flashes coming in from AL. And while they grab the kill, it's going to be an HP advantage here for Anyone's Legend and the Dragon as well. So I think you're feeling very good about that as BLG. My one worry is maybe in 3 minutes time there is a play going on for this team, but AL now, they've got 2 Dragons. We haven't seen much side lane play coming out from BLG as we get this replay here. And a lot of this, I think, is the fact that almost all of this damage goes down onto Kael, while Tarzan, and you see this damage, it's really not all that much. I love this sweep coming in from Tarzan that makes it so difficult for BLG to actually hit him.
And now Tarzan down his flash. Meanwhile, BLG retaining a lot of flashes there in that little dust up. So see if there's a play to be had onto Tarzan at this in a couple of minutes here. Is starting to get a little bit deeper into this game, all nearing that 15-minute mark. Conditions for BLG looking mighty fine right now. They've evened up the gold. They've got some solid scaling on their side.
Okay, we're going to try and play a little bit more. Remember, we have 5 grubs, so making a play. Oh, look, Elk!
Oh, Tarzan couldn't get to him. And Elk is able to hop to his teammates so close on the Wind Becomes Lightning.
A little bit of gold here now going over to the Ahri, but instead they don't want to give up another mid-wave. So saw a preemptive move there from Shanks, trying to see if maybe they needed to cut off in mid and reinforce this side of the map. But small play there coming in. It is Tarzan getting the ultimate out from Elk, right, and potentially saving an even worse play from BLG going for a dive onto Flandre. A pretty soft game, all things considered. 4 kills, 15 minutes. I think I'm loving the fact that both of these teams are kind of testing each other, seeing where they're allowed to get away with stuff, you know, squeezing a little bit in areas and trying to see exactly what both teams are willing to give up and trade.
Yeah, it's always nice to see a bit of a chess match like this, and, you know, I have to say, shame on Elk for almost getting caught out there, even though he didn't burn any of his summoners, because BLG has been so good at playing as a unit and playing together. See if Elk gets caught out here because he is alone, has to burn the barrier. He's flashing away, but he burns with the red buff, and now On could be caught out here on top of Hope. Here comes Wei, but Wei is pushed away. Shanks coming through, and there's the seismic shove. They find On, the teleport from Flandre. Wei has to flash out of there, and anyone's legend making a big play, and they're looking to knock down mid-tier 1.
I just love how ferocious we got to see Hope. Flies in after a single proc of the plasma onto Elk after already getting so much damage down. And this is the kind of play you need to be able to make. Now there's some missing summoner spells from Elk. You will not have those summoner spells available for Hope, but you really want to try to put yourself in a good position for this Herald. You are watching a BLG team that has 5 grubs. You do not want to be giving over this objective as... Yeah, I mean, this replay is pretty cut and dry. Elk takes a full-on involved Q. The red buff that he had just picked up takes him down. And this play in general from AL is really precise.
Yeah, it was beautiful. They saw that BLG has been really good at playing as a unit, and they are able to mirror that with a really nice play. And as you mentioned, Elk without summoners, you have to be worried. Kael can just walk up and ult him. Sure, you can leap away if you're Elk, but that's not going to help you.
Knight's looking for a TP angle here. Same thing with Shanks.
All right.
Shanks is going to teleport
Here we go.
first. Okay.
4,000 HP on the Herald right now. No poke can be landed by Flandre. Shanks is joining the team.
Though.
Knight is here. As you mentioned, been on the side. Herald going to be secured for BLG. And anyone's legend. Looks like they're just going to walk it out here.
On is moving first here.
Okay, wait a minute.
Seismic shove down.
Whoa, wait a minute. Bit of a disconnect here, although On is the one who ends up getting caught out, and he falls down. Bin gets onto Kael, but the knockups are going to be there, and the seismic shove too. It's a double kill for Hope, and the mid and 80 carry of anyone's legend are playing great.
This is insane. I mean, On tries to find the engage. Are they going to make a replay here? I mean, Wei does have the impale, but it's just not enough. AL they lose the Herald, but they'll find the play on the back end here. Really good stuff. Again, this was the matchup that we were excited for when we looked at these two teams. The fact that they haven't played, the fact that these are some of the top teams here in the LPL. We're already getting it so early on into Group Ascend. I mean, On is just by himself. He's stopping Tarzan, but Knight in the backline is getting stopped by Kael. This means that now Bin has used his ultimate. He's in the fight, but he's just in no man's land. Same thing with Knight. The solo lanes of BLG are kind of letting him down.
Anyone's legend wanted to prove that their split one is not a fluke. So far here in Game 1, looking mighty fine. Dragon has been started up, looking to put themselves on Mountain Soul Point. BLG does not want to let them have it. Dragon getting a little bit lower as the Weaver's Wall going to come in and try to split things apart. 4,000 HP and getting lower as Wei is the one up front. BLG off to the side. Elk getting poked out just a little bit. Hook going in, doesn't land, and it's taken away by BLG. And who's getting blown up? It's Kael who goes down. And Knight is ready to reset. Wei is coming to cruise in. Multiple members grouped up, trying to slow him, but he flashes to the side. Another nice job there coming through from Shanks as they are getting rifled down by Hope. He's knocked away. Elk is on the wrong side of the tracks, and they lose the Dragon, but anyone's legend win another fight.
On is completely disconnected from this. Elk is going to get away by hiding on their side of the jungle. I'm going to be honest, the problem points for BLG are starting to arise. Wei, while winning the smite, he just gets a nothing impale. He's not able to play against AL, and they completely snap his head off in that fight. As now AL, despite losing the last 2 objectives, are up a significant amount of gold at this point, and I love this Weaver's Wall. It stops On from really being able to set up all that well, and then Shanks with this Unraveled Earth, he makes it so difficult for them to really get in there. Kael, you get one. You get one this game, okay? That one was a bit questionable. I'm kind of just surprised we're not seeing the solo lanes of BLG kind of set up. I would really have preferred to see like On find an engage, or even if you know, we kind of get way to find something, then we send Bin and Knight into the backline to find them. But that has just not been the case in this game.
BLG are reeling right now. They're down about 2,500 gold, as Anyone's Legend have been playing really, really well. Now BLG may have bitten off a little bit more than they can chew. You stole the red buff. Wei is able to actually get over the wall. The knockups are there, but no follow-up to be had. So he'll be able to at least take that one, put it in his back pocket. But I'm sure that Anyone's Legend, and specifically Tarzan's going to remember that one.
I think Anyone's Legend are really happy with the map state right now. I mean, the fact that BLG haven't been really pushing on the side lane and kind of using some of those 5 grubs. They even had the Herald. They got a single turret for it, which is nice. But, oh, On just died while we were in the picture-in-picture. Okay, sure. Yeah, that's... On is 0-5 at in this game. Him and Mako have been holding hands, being like, bro, we are just going to die a lot in these games. Just call it a night. That's fine.
Did not know that Fogo de Chao was open this early, but they are certainly serving up steaks made of On in this game, AlkBattery. The Otacon has spawned on the bottom side of the map. As you mentioned, the map state, very, very good for Anyone's Legend. BLG's solo lanes, you know, sure, Knight's got a totally fine-looking scoreline right now, but as you mentioned, got to see him get to the backline along with Bin. Just them and Wei are just not linking up at all. And meanwhile, for Anyone's Legend, I mean, Tarzan's doing the most.
Tarzan's doing a lot. I really want to point out that the carries here for AL and Shanks and Hope are for sure stepping up, especially Hope.
Oh my God, so good.
After 2022 Worlds, JDG, he makes semifinals. He ends up losing in that semifinals to T1. Kind of just fell off the map. He was stuck on WE for a little bit. He unfortunately wasn't able to really find all that much success. And to finally see this player who I have had like a soft spot for so long, finally, or at least for now, climb back to the high highs that he had already found before is a really inspiring story. So it's early on into the series. We still have a lot of League of Legends to play, but I think the fact that Hope already is having such a successful 2025 is really good for Anyone's Legend.
And the fact that he's even having a successful game in this individual game 1 that's not even over is further proof that this guy is back, right? He is that guy who made it to Worlds. He is that guy that unfortunately was not able to get the job done against T1, but he's still that caliber of player, right? Shanks proving himself that he is a high caliber player too. This is really encouraging for Anyone's Legend. It's now up to them to just put this one away after getting a lead. Kael gonna land a hook. On is gonna go in. Let's see if the rest of the team can show up. He's tagged up and goes down immediately. The Impale lands, and Disaster may be striking. Flandre stays alive for long, but not long enough, as it is 2 kills going over to BLG.
Well, now BLG just get to play the map really wide. They even get to have this Otacon if they really want it. I mean, you have Tristana, why not? So AL, big mistake here. Maybe they can find Bin?
Okay, if they find Bin, they could transition this. Let's see what the move is going to be. Shanks does have that Weaver's Wall available.
Risky here.
It is. It's getting lower and lower. 7,000 HP, 6,000 HP. The armor, the MR being shredded from BLG as we speak, and they are forced off. Now Anyone's Legend are going to do it. The Weaver's Wall coming in, trying to get them off, but Tarzan goes in. So does Hope. Elk does not go down. Tarzan's in the thick of things, and they will find Wei, and nobody else on Anyone's Legend dies, and they will be able to secure Otacon, and BLG have to limp away.
That Crescent Guard got so much value out from Anyone's Legend. They'll grab the Otacon, they get 2 kills on top of it, and they get the Dragon. Insane play coming in from AL. They're recognizing which angles they're allowed to squeeze for, when they're allowed to find fights. And him being able to start these fights for Hope and for Shanks, such an incredible job. I love what we're getting from Anyone's Legend here.
They are punishing the hubris and the greed of BLG. And after that, now with these big EXP leads coming from the Flowers, 47-4. The extra damage you're going to get out of that too. This is going to be really hard for BLG to try to come back in this game. Look at this replay.
This starts with them trying to use some of their grubs, the fact that On finds a very good engagement onto Kael, and then this flash engage. I will say it was a good start to this. Getting the flash out of also Hope is something that is going to be pretty meaningful, but leashing this right here, I mean, Bin just getting caught out before this play basically makes this happen. And the fact that Hope flies in with his teammate, the fact that even this Crescent Guard is getting so much value. We talked about it from draft, right? That this Xin Zhao was going to be deceptively very tanky. Oh, Kael. Oh, boy.
Oh, he's fine.
I saw that Q. I saw that Q, brother. That was tough.
Yeah, but you're right about the Crescent Guard. It's done so much because as Ahri, do you really want to be in there, right? As Elk, do you really want to be in the face of Xin Zhao? Unless you're hard winning a fight. No, you don't. Speaking of fights, On going for a big engage here. Teleport coming in, going low as Kael, as he will fall, and BLG's health bars are looking mighty fine. Flandre gets in. Shanks could be in trouble. He's got to go golden. They're split. Hope gets to the back line. He finds Elk. Hope is carrying the hopes and dreams of the fans of anyone's legend, as Bin's got to flash away. A triple kill for Hope, and the Baron in the eyes of anyone's legend.
And it seems like the saying is true. Hope is the killer here, man. AL, they get a huge fight, and they'll grab the Baron, which will now spill over into that Dragon in 3 minutes' time. This game has been even, but you look at the jungle difference. You look right now at these 280 carries, and AL are them in this game right now. It is so good to see, as this starts off with Kael getting picked off, but look at where Knight is, not dealing damage. He goes back in, and this Zhonya's from Shanks delays so much time. It buys a lot of space. The fact that Hope just gets to fly in and find more of these members, such a fantastic fight coming in from them. And BLG lacking the ability to actually put damage down onto this Kaisa to stop someone like this Xin Zhao. Good job coming in from them. And BLG, we need to see them tighten up if they want any chance to come back in this game.
So many Kaisas would be a little bit too timid, but not the ones you find in the LPL. Not Hope, the guy who made so many big plays against IG in the series clinching game, has now done it again against BLG. 4,000 gold up, 26.5 minutes, 2 minutes on this Dragon. Looking for Soul is anyone's legend. BLG are going to need to find a way to try to get a foothold back in this river, because I think if they get Mountain Soul, this game will be over.
I mean, they've got Baron. It's so tough for them to be able to push, and now what they'll do is they'll kind of ping-pong between the top and mid lane waves. Mid lane is going to be so much more important as this Dragon is spawning in a minute's time. It's that Soul, like you were mentioning. The fact that BLG even found a single Dragon is very good for them. Otherwise, they would have already been looking down them having the Soul. I mean, this game would be a lot different if
Flying teleport.
They're going to try and get Flandre, but Flandre, it doesn't matter, though. They're losing so much in mid here just to try to grab him, and he'll be up for this Dragon. Who cares?
Yeah, the global taunt is being used on Flandre, and Bin missed his ultimate. Flandre is maybe... No, he made it close, but he wasn't able to actually get the kill. But as you mentioned, they're losing so much. Here's a four-man push. Teleport's coming in, and it looks like anyone's legend wisely not continuing the push, worried about these recalls.
They get an inhibitor here. I mean, they'll just recall. Flandre, if he really needs to, can I mean, I guess he doesn't have teleport, but who cares? He has so much movement speed.
He'll get there.
Fantastic stuff from AL. 5,000 gold up. They're going to spend. They're going to be so much more powerful. If Shanks can get a fully completed Zhonya's here, I mean, this fight gets so much more difficult for BLG. So they need to push up as far as possible, and Super Minions are not going to make that easy.
Well, this is the opening that BLG needed to get this foothold in the river. 25 seconds before the Dragon spawns. The only problem is, as you mentioned, you lost so much for it. The waves are not pushing in your favor either. As anyone's legend are walking it down mid here. Flandre is not with the team, though, so it's a 5v4. They may have misstepped as they're going to look for Tarzan here. It looks like that is not the target that Way wanted. On, getting chunked just a little bit. Charms flying out, not quite landing. BLG have a little bit of time, but On is down to about half HP now. Flandre is looking to join the fight. Way going to get engaged on the side. They're just poked so low, and Way is not even close to his team. He misses the impale. Tarzan's able to find his way out, and anyone's legend are going to dominate this fight, and On is going to fall next. Shanks doing a lot. You get on top of Knight on the side, and he can't even escape the clutches of Flandre. You might charm him up, but that's all you got is looks, Ahri, as Knight has to run away. Now the push coming down to the mid lane as Shanks is going to chase off Elk off screen. Will be able to take him down. All right, Knight's still alive. The golden left hand is trying to survive, trying.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's going to matter, Alk.
They're going to end the game. Okay, who cares about a damn Mountain Soul at this point? Flandre's going to TP, and that's it. Game 1 resoundingly goes over to AL.
What a beautifully played game by Anyone's Legend. This was so awesome. They played great. They beat BLG. They punished BLG multiple times, and a 1-0 series lead for Anyone's Legend.
That was an incredible game. I loved the fact that Tarzan feels absolutely zero resentment. He's like, I'm going forward. I'm going to provide space for my team. The fact that Hope and Shanks, I loved that last fight, how we saw Shanks use his ultimate, rides right in the back line, puts Unraveled Earth, makes it almost impossible for Knight and Elk to stay on the same screen, so they end up splitting up. I'm going to be honest. I feel like a lot of BLG were very scattered. The bot lane plays, Wei and on that dive, they go down. They trade their lives for that. Wei, even in that last fight, misses the flash in Pale. Bin with uncharacteristic mistakes. We said before his Mbessa wasn't that great. I think we got to see it yet again. This is a worrying trend, especially if Mbessa is going to continue to be a champion we see throughout this year.
Yeah, and given the state that she's kind of in when it comes to solo queue, and given the fact that she's picked a lot, but not like overwhelmingly super, winning every single game that she's in, maybe she will be a mainstay for the entire year. But, the success that we saw out of BLG from prior games, a lot of it was tied into the fact they were great at grouping up and playing as a coordinated unit and being able to bail out their teammates because they'd be so close by if somebody got picked. And you just never saw it here. You saw it really early on. There was one good play. But after that, I mean, they were so scattered all the time, as you said. And AL, they are a well-coached team that is going to pick you apart if you continue to try that.
I mean, not to take anything away from BLG, they've got Maokai on the other side, who is a very famous coach, especially here in the LPL. So I just think that, aside from, the coach diff that you might want to ascribe to Tabe, just the gameplay itself just was not inspiring from Bilibili. And this is kind of the form that we have seen them throughout this year. It's reasons why they kind of lost against a team like TT, why they got knocked out by a team like TES in the lower bracket, right? We didn't see them have that clean of executions, and kind of looking at AL now, they have, I think one of the reasons why they've been so successful is, even though in some instances I do think that they have misexecuted fights or they aren't necessarily the most mechanical team, they have really easy to execute team compositions, and having Tarzan lead from the front makes this game so much easier to play.
Yeah, he's been so good at really taking the reins of this team and enabling the rest of the team to play their game, right? Shanks didn't do a whole lot of damage. So much utility in this game, right? Played phenomenally. And then Hope, of course, you see his damage share. You saw his damage numbers. The dude played fearless. It was so incredible to watch. This guy, both of them are evolving right before our very eyes, and it's not just because Hope's playing Kaisa.
Dude, this Kaisa was
so good. Dare I say, this may have been a classic LPL Kaisa performance. Sure, it wasn't at like the highest, this is a playoff match or anything like that. But this was a damn good game of Kaisa.
Almost all of Hope's Kaisa games, I'm just going to real quick just go ahead and go to Leakpedia. I'm clicking on Hope real quick. I'm picking up the match history with the Kaisa. Every game this year has been a banger from him. He has been, I think, one of the... He gets the Kaisa pass.
He does, absolutely. He's got it.
Yeah, so he's played 6 games. He's 4-2. Trying to look. I mean, he had an insane game versus LGD that they barely won. That was him and... Tarzan when he was playing the Nocturne in the jungle. They barely lost against NIP, and then he played against JDG. He rocked that game. 9-0, 11-3, 9-3, 14-3. Now he has this game as well. I just think as a champion, you're just not allowed to give him this year. He has been playing so excellently.
The good news is BLG doesn't have to deal with it, but the bad news is a lot of their really good tools are gone. I mean, Knight and On losing on Ahri and Alistar, respectively, is a big deal. Like, these are some of these guys' best champions. Losing this game, now having them off the board and having to go to something else, these are the champions that they typically pick when it's like, you need a dub, let's go.
Yeah, no, like you're saying, no Ahri, there's no Jace, especially taken away by Flandre here. I think it was a really important takeaway as well.
Yeah.
And now, even for Elk, or even for On, there's 2 champions that are immediately gone now, and both of them, I think he's performed so well so far this season. So, gonna be interesting to see as we get further into this. I think Hope has just earned himself yet another MVP on this champion. Perfectly fine with that.
Same.
I'm kind of looking forward to Game 2 draft, because setting up, I think we really wanted to see this series go the distance, but there's still the possibility of that happening here. But a 2-0 in either direction, I think is a pretty big indictment for both of these teams. BLG in particular, they are a team that came in as favorites and have not had the most solid 2025.
Yeah, it would be. I think it would be definitely more damaging to BLG than Anyone's Legend, but even still, damaging really to both teams, especially with the way Anyone's Legend was able to play in Split 1, and now all of a sudden, you're able to knock off BLG. Looking forward again, as you said, if it's a 2-0, I mean, oh my God, we don't know. Like it throws everything for a loop, right? I guess AL is just the number 2 team, and maybe BLG is closer to being that. Like, 4th place team might be on the same tier of like a Weibo, what we were thinking of earlier, that fighting around for 4th place team.
For AL, I think it would be so important, like you're kind of noting. I personally, coming into the series, was thinking maybe AL has the potential to drop out of top 4, but there's the Kaisa. And now this makes the competition for top 3, top 4 that much closer. And again, still have more games to play. At the very least, we'll have one more game for BLG to kind of prove that to be not the case.
Anyone's Legend knocking down the Chinese legends known as BLG. BLG need to bite back for Game 2. We'll see you in the draft.